Today we are going to be talking about authenticity, and I think it's an interesting topic just because, as someone who grew up a very shy, timid person, knowing what your personality is, knowing who you are, knowing what you like, knowing what you don't like, because I was like an introvert or shy person, but I was also dissociating in a way where it's like now I just have to like remember who I am. And it's been an interesting journey. Obviously there's like things that I know I do, like I'm a very like athletic person, and I enjoy baking and stuff like that, but like what my personality is, like what do I truly like? It's been a journey for sure. It's still a journey. So I've been hearing a lot about authenticity, and I want to talk about it. So with that being said, welcome to another episode of Melomeresco. We have another solo episode, and I'm excited about this episode, like always. And this was not planned. So subscribe, comment, like, share, because that supports the podcast. And let me know what topics you want me to talk about. I'm not an expert in anything, but I can give unsolicited advice. No, I'm kidding. Or I guess that's kind of what it is. Just like sharing my experience on certain topics. With that being said, let's start the episode. I am excited because I'm in this journey right now in this mentorship, right? In this mentorship where it's like she talks a lot about like energies and really about remembering who we are, because we've forgotten, a lot of us, if not all of us, have forgotten how to live authentic lives. And being authentic means choosing what you want to do, choosing the things that you enjoy doing, que gozas, like you. I feel like there's a better word for enjoy that translates better for gozar, but it's like lo gozas. Like every time, like when you eat an ice cream and it's your favorite ice cream, and like lo gozas, and it's like you don't care if you're on a diet, like if they gave it to you for free or you just found it and whatever, and it's, well, not found it in the street, but you found it in the store and then you can buy it. It's like I'm gonna enjoy this ice cream like it's the last one, knowing it's the last one. And I think it's been an interesting journey and a mindset shift as well, because when we talk about authenticity in this mentorship, we also talk about the body, about our nervous system, and how we have to um we tend to, a lot of us, dissociate, or a lot of what's it called, denying, or reprimiendo. What's reprimiendo in English? But if reprimiendo, denying, like feelings that we have, sentimientos that have been bottled up for a while, and because of that, our body tends to kind of like shut off, but also give signs as well. Like, if you know anything about biodecodification, it's how usually when we repress, that's the word, when we repress these emotions, they are, um, our body tells us through these through sickness, through disease, through yeah, cuando estamos enfermos, pretty much. And it could be like super severe, or it could be like very mild, like una gripe, or your nose stuffed, or whatnot. And sometimes it is like the weather, but most of the time it's because we've bottled up so much. And I actually have a episode with, damn, I forgot the name, but it's a biodecodification in Spanish, where we talk a bit about that. And I wish I would have asked better questions, but I'm still a rookie. But so all of that is very interesting, because once we understand that our bodies like is giving us signs, like externally, like external signs of like you need to get your shit together and you need to come back into your body, because if not it keeps getting worse, and that's when it becomes like a chronic condition. But when we become aware of our bodies, I'm like, how do I feel? Am I hungry? Am I not hungry? Do I need to rest more? And these are important questions, and as silly as they may sound, a lot of us forget to do that. Like, I could ask my dad, especially. He before used to work like 60, 80 hours a week on like, maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe I'm not, honestly, maybe like, but 50, 60 hours a week for sure. And and this dude would not rest. And like usually with like Hispanics, maybe it's not, I'm not trying to generalize, but at least in my experience, like my dad, or like my uncles, they used to drink like una cerveza, dos cervezas. Sometimes they would like just get drunk in the weekends, because that was their way of like relaxing. But in reality, what their body needed was probably like some stretches and like a massage, or just like literally sleep. And and these things are gonna, like, drinking is gonna create a consequence later on their bodies, because they're not listening to it. They're not listening to their bodies. And these are just um like that's an example. But then, like, for us with like burnout and whatnot, like burnout is a big thing, and that's again our body telling us that you need to relax. And not even like relax, but I feel like I was screaming, oh my god. Not only relax, but also, like, are you doing the things that you actually want to do? Because that's usually the sign that our body is telling us, is like, are you actually enjoying this activity that you are like doing almost 24/7? And especially when like we work on, I'm not including myself in this one because I don't have a 9 to 5. I am looking for a job, so if anybody knows, please let me know. But like when we work 9 to 5s, or especially like doctors or lawyers, like those type of fields, like they be working 80 hours a week, going home like super late. Like their eating habits are probably really bad, and at some point they're gonna get burned out, because one, they're probably, most of them, they don't actually enjoy what they're doing. And two, their body's asking for rest. Like their body is telling them, like, you need to treat me better, because I'm shutting off. Like I can't keep going like this. And it's crazy because like for some it's like 10, 20, 30 years. But it's coming to a point where, like, thankfully now there's more mental health awareness, and like people are talking about this. And that's also part of authenticity, because there's a difference. Like you could work on a project. Let's say you're really passionate about your business, like you really enjoy what you do. That's understandable. Like you enjoy, like it doesn't feel like work. We still got to take care of our bodies. We still got to do that. But there's a different type of enjoyment. Like you enjoy it, and it's very, very different when. And I still haven't like truly experienced that, but that's like, I guess that's my theory. But I have experienced the opposite of like not enjoying the thing that the job that you're at. Like I used to work at like a cheesecake factory, and I hated that job. I hated it. I hated like doing the cheesecakes. I didn't even like cheesecake. Like I couldn't enjoy cheesecake because I didn't like it. And then it was like environment as well too. Like that also influences a lot. But it's just like, and like my body will always be so tired. I will be just like, I would also, don't get me wrong, I would try my best to like put it in like the best attitude and whatnot. But deep down is like, I know I'm not supposed to be here. And I ended up quitting like a year later, about a year later. I think like a month before I made a year or something like that. Because I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it anymore. And so back to authenticity, like a lot of us, we forget to do things that we enjoy. And like obviously it's like a journey. And like maybe, and another thing I've heard is like there's so many factors. But for example, like we're just starting our journey, and we're trying to enjoy things more, especially if we're at a job that we don't like. It's enjoying the little things. I know that sounds like what, like quieres darme una cachetada, but with the interview I did with Gracieta, which you could also go watch it or listen to it, and on my YouTube, on my channel, on my podcast. She talked, and it's in Spanish though, but she talks a lot about that, and how sometimes our propósitos, they start like very small, like those small achievements, it's enjoying your job, it's enjoying the little moments, because again, and we hear this a lot as well, is like, if you don't enjoy things now, don't expect to enjoy things in the future, because you're still gonna be that, like, if you don't change things internally, then wherever you go, in whatever timeline you're in, you're still gonna be you. And so if nothing has changed, don't expect to enjoy the things when you do have the things, because you didn't enjoy them when you didn't. And that's just like, that's just what a lot of people say. And you see it too as well, like with artists, where they probably didn't work internally, and then they're like they're doing drugs, and they're in the alcohol, and they're like depressed and all these things. And you would think, like, do you have the money, all the money in the world, or more money than most of us? Like, why aren't you like out, if you're like super sad, or you don't know what to do with your money, or you don't know what to do with your life, like, go volunteer, go donate money, go to another state where people do need the resources, and you like go help, stuff like that. And it's like, it's always very interesting to see, but it's because they haven't done the internal work as well. So where was I? So back to authenticity. Oh, I want that car. I need a car too. But with like my experience as well, it's been a very interesting thing, because I grew up very shy. Like you know what's the most annoying thing? When you're recording and you're like in the flow, or yeah, in the flow, and then you have no fucking storage. That's so fucking annoying. But I'm saying, I grew up very shy. I grew up like very like, I go to a parent teacher conference, and the teacher would be like, "Oh, your daughter's such a good student, but she needs to participate more, or she needs to talk more, blah blah blah." And even like also growing up, I like barely had any friends. Or they just wouldn't last long. Like, I remember like I had two in middle school, and like they had to move out like to other states, so I was like left all alone. And but it also allowed me to like get out of my comfort zone a bit more. But then I also went back into my shell. But yeah, and the interesting thing too is that I feel like it wasn't just because I was shy, as well as I just didn't connect with people. Like, I didn't connect with my classmates, and I would I was also like very sassy when I would talk. So like once I like started getting a bit comfortable, like I would talk to them and like joke around in a sarcastic way, but I wouldn't be friends with people. I would just know. I would just know people. So that was a really interesting journey too, or interesting like thing to kind of like reflect on as well. Um, but at the end of the day, I never really knew how to be authentically like myself, like, because I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. I didn't really have a lot of conversations. Like, most of the conversations were with like my parents or like my family. Um, but even then, it was also like conversations. Thankfully, we're now changing our conversations into more like, um, not even intellectual, but more like we're not chismoseando about other people. It's like, okay, like if we're gonna talk about something that I don't really care about, then I'm not gonna be part of that conversation. But thankfully, it's like now we talk about movies, and like, what did you think about this? What did you think about that? Like workouts, like, oh, how's that journey? Or stuff like that, of like things that we're actually doing in our personal journey, and it's not about somebody else, unless it's actually interesting. We're like, oh, like, she's doing this and she's doing that, and like, that's so fucking cool. But we didn't know how to have those conversations before, and I'm still like working on it as well too. But again, so it's like kind of like being shy, but also not connecting with people that didn't allow me to show up how I would want to, or like, if that makes sense. And then more recently, it's also like it's also very similar. I still can't connect very easily, but it's also because I also put like a front, and like, like, can I trust you? And I do trust. It's like that, you trust, but you're also like you put some distance on it. So it's a very interesting thing, and because of that, it's been really hard to kind of like know not even like who am I, but it's like what's my personality. Like sometimes I feel like I'm so boring or with the topics, and maybe it's not because it's not because I'm boring. It's because the topics that maybe I'm interested, the other people aren't. So like tarot or just like paranormal stuff that like brujitas or like witches and whatnot, or stuff like that, where like people have these like powers, and like sometimes like people don't believe that, and you can't really talk about it with everybody because they don't believe that. So it's really hard to kind of like have a conversation about that. But what was I saying? Authenticity, yes. Sorry that I might be going all over the place, but yeah. So it's like very interesting because I feel like I'm also like in this like mood swings where sometimes I'm really good. I'm like super excited and like I'm on the flow and I'm like we're doing this and we're doing that, and then bam, it like fucking crashes. And I think it's like a defensive mechanism for many of us where like when we're starting to see like some progress, or we're starting to see like we're like actually doing a thing, because our, at least from what my understanding is, because we don't feel safe, or like for example we're scared of like succeeding and whatnot, our body kind of like feels that intuitively, and then does that to our body. Like we start like procrastinating, or we start feeling tired, or we wake up late and whatnot. At least that's what I've heard from my therapist. Like that's one of the reasons why that happens as well. And so I've been like really trying to work on that, and like thankfully I'm in this mentorship where it's a lot about acompañándote, like being with, ¿cómo se dice acompañándote? Like like kind of like being with you in in every step of the way, where like if I'm feeling angry, if I'm feeling sad, it's like you feel the emotion and you're with it. You're not like victimizing, or you're not like adding more to, no le estás poniendo más leña al fuego, but you're like, okay, I acknowledge it, I see you, and what's the story that this is a question that my mentor always tells us, like what's the story that you're telling yourself now? Because usually it's a belief, a limiting belief that we have that makes us believe those stories, and so we really have to acknowledge that and then redirect them as well, because most of the time they're not true anymore. And we get to, and that's another thing, we get to choose differently now. But that's, I don't even know if that's part of authenticity, to be honest. Well, it's like everything's all like part of it, and I think that's like a step to that leads to authenticity. But like finding like as a shy, and this is like the whole point, this was the whole point of the podcast, is like as a shy person, or as an introvert, or as someone who really isolated herself or isolated myself, I feel like I don't know, I feel like I can't show my real self, and that's such an interesting journey to kind of like go through, because especially like me creating content, it's like how do I want to show up? How do I truly speak? Do I like when I want to make a joke, do I make it, or do I just like no, that's not a joke, I should say, or it's like little stuff like that where like you unconsciously reprimes, or you don't allow yourself to say unconsciously until like later on, where you're like, oh shit, like I actually didn't do this, or stuff like that. Or even like when you're not in the mood to like do a podcast, and it's like you're not really showing, like you're showing your shadow, would it be like your shadow self, but you're not showing like how you want to show up. I don't know. I think this is just interesting, because when I look back at different episodes, it's kind of like, is it? I feel like the problem with my podcast episodes has been that I feel like I feel like I complain while not wanting to complain. Like I feel like when I share my experiences, I want to share something good, but for the most part, they're always bad, or like they're always in a, like I feel like I'm just always sad. Where when I show up, it's like I try to show that I'm happy, but in reality, I'm so fucked up. Where it's like I feel it, the audience feels, and the view, like, you can see it in the views, where like I'm not showing up authentically. And it's such an interesting thing, because it's like there's things I can't control, and at the end of the day, it's a lot of redirecting of like my own personal thoughts. because there are times where I do enjoy when I do the podcast episode. And then like I was doing one recently and I didn't upload it because I felt like my vibe, my I was just so like sad, and there's like things that I've been like trying to heal and whatnot, where I feel like today has been like one of the first days this past week where I've actually felt good, and hopefully it kind of like shows on this episode, where it's like I could just talk and I don't care if I'm like mumbling or like going all over the place, and also sharing that I'm not okay. Like I'm not okay. Like I'm figuring things out, and that stresses me out. But at the same time, I'm doing the work of like, okay, of like acompañándome, of like, okay, how do I feel? What do I need right now? Like, what does my body need right now? And then things of like, okay, what can we do? Like, an actual plan of, okay, I need to record this. I need to do that. I need to do more clips. I need to post more on social media. I need to send emails. All these stuff that I can do, where it's like, okay, we're when I get into that space of like sadness, or just like frustration, I can now redirect those emotions into redirect those emotions faster. Like I could acompañarme and whatnot, but I'm not there for like months, But that's how it used to be, like literally months. And I'm like, I can't do that anymore. And it's been such an interesting journey, because these are things that unfortunately our families didn't know, and we're all learning together. Like we're all learning together, and my neighbor's like right there. We're all learning together, and we're all trying to figure out. We're all trying to heal our traumas, and we're all trying to. And that's another thing I learned from my mentorship, is like it's not about healing our traumas anymore. Like not just like, yes, we do have to heal, and there's things that we gotta talk about, and blah blah blah. But through that journey, it's also choosing differently, and choosing the things that we want to do. Like again, gozando la vida, the things that actually gives us pleasure, and joy, and satisfaction, and all these like good emotions. And again, it's not always going to be like that, but it's always trying to choose that instead of like victimization and sadness, and like blaming, which is victimization. But yeah, I don't even know if I talk about authenticity enough, and I think all of that is a journey. It's a journey for sure, and through this podcast, thankfully, I've been able to kind of like put that into practice, or being part of my journey of like finding myself, like remembering who I am, and being able to show up the way that I want to show up. Because there's times where I know there's like certain characteristics of me where I'm like do this, do that, da, 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 like kind of like motivation, or like challenging, but like in a good, like, what are you doing? You gotta do this, you gotta do that. Like, tell me what's your plan. I kind of like going back and forth of like, I'm not gonna let you, at least with like my family members and stuff like this, I'm not gonna let you, or we are not gonna let each other, like, yes, there's gonna be a moment where we're feeling that, but like I'm not gonna let you be there for a long period of time. Or it's like I'm gonna try to motivate you, or try to challenge your, like, what are you doing with your life? Like, what are you doing with your life? And I think that's a really nice thing to have. I forgot what I was going with this, but I forgot where I was going with this. But authenticity, it goes back to that it's hard. It's hard when you have no fucking, when you don't have a fucking clue of like what's your personality, when you have limiting beliefs about yourself, like I'm boring, I'm this, I'm that, I have nothing to say, I'm an NPC player. And it's like, fuck, like no, I'm like this because I've repressed so much, or because I had no friends and I don't know how to freaking connect with people, and now I have to learn how to do all of that. And that's okay, it's not shaming anybody, it's not blaming anybody, it's what are we gonna do about it? Like, how are we gonna start showing up for ourselves? And these are like just little decisions. These are little decisions that we gotta do. And again, that's why I say it's so interesting, because even though I was like a very shy person, I was never really scared of like filming myself. Filming. I remember it was like, I think it was like August of 2023, I think, when I put out my first video because I was trying to do like affiliate marketing, and I was never afraid. Like I was able to show up and doing the thing that I fear, but it was like it's such an easy thing. The only problem is that I don't know how to fucking express myself. I think that's me in a way showing up authentically, and like I'm just gonna do the thing. I'm just gonna do the fucking thing, even if nobody fucking watches, because nobody's fucking watching. Literally, nobody's fucking watching except my mom, and like sometimes like my dad and like my brother watches like the first 2 minutes of it, so I could get a view. But I think in itself, like reflecting on that, I think that's showing up authentically, or at least part of it. Part of showing up authentically, because I'm just doing the thing, and when I'm in a bad mood, when I'm in a good mood, when I'm fucking sad, when I'm fucking happy, and it's just that, it's just that in a way showing up authentically, and it's not always gonna be like that. And then you add up things that you start finding more about yourself, like maybe making sarcastic jokes, or just laughing at a really bad joke, or making a dad joke, I don't know. And it's always gonna be evolving, but I think it's to kind of conclude this whole thing, because I'm going into like a lot of rants, but I think I keep saying I think a lot. When we choose to start living the life that we want, meaning making choices that lead us to where we want to be, on the things that we enjoy doing, que gozamos, and like we're disfrutando, and it's like, yes, like it gives, like literally gives you that adrenaline rush of like, yes, I want more of this, or like just that moment. Like for example, when I would talk to the nuns in the Metro North train to go to New York, like that was such an adrenaline rush that was a feeling that stayed with me for the whole day, and I was so excited, and I was telling everybody, and this was so, like, I got out of my comfort zone, and I did this, and now I have this story. And it's just like stuff like that, where one, you get out of your comfort zone, two, you enjoy, like, you wanted to have a conversation with nuns, you got to have a conversation with nuns, and now you get to share it, and not only share it, but you get to have that feeling with you for however long it lasts, and you get to remember that feeling as well. Like maybe it's not gonna be there forever, like that, stay that feeling, but you're gonna be able to remember, like, oh, I feel like this, and it feels so good, and that's showing up authentically. Like I wanted to do that, you do that. Like you want to do that, you get to do that thing. You just gotta choose it, right? You just gotta choose it, and through that you get to learn more of yourself, because it's like, oh, I like talking to strangers, and I personally like talking to people who are doing things authentically, that want to do the things that they want to do, and they chose it. Like they literally chose, not life chose it for them, not my parents chose it for me, not society chose it for me. It's I chose this lifestyle, and I am having a fucking blast. Yes, there's challenges that come with this, but at the end of the day, like I would not trade this for the world. And yes, things are always gonna be evolving, and maybe I'm gonna choose something differently in the next year, or the next 5 years, or not. Like who fucking knows? But right now, I'm living the life that I want, and I think that's so fucking inspiring. And for me, that's what authenticity is. It's just like doing what you want to do, like doing what you want to do. And like right now, in a way, I am doing what I want to do. I might not be like in the place where I want to be, or I might not be like my fullest authentic self, but I think Andrea from like freaking middle school, or Andrea from high school, Andrea from like 2 fucking years ago, man, will be so fucking proud of who I am now, of the things that I've done, the things that I've been scared to do, but still fucking do it. And that's what, like, that's what makes this journey fucking worth it. That's what makes this fucking journey worth it, because literally last fucking week I was like, yo, God, why do you want me here? Like, why do you want me to heal this thing? Like, why can't I just let go of this fucking feeling that I know I just need to let go? But you want me to fucking have this hard conversation, and it's like, why? Like, why can't you just like, why can't you just like let me be? and just kind of like ignore my problems type of thing. But all those all those all those things are part of the journey, and like those things are allowing me to one know more about myself, because now I know I'm really bad at having hard conversations. I know like what happens after a hard conversation, but I also know that I'm capable of doing those things, and now I'm like working on it, and I get to have more authentic relationships because of those hard conversations. And when a lot of people don't get to have that, we tend to repress a lot of our emotions of like how we feel towards a certain person or towards a certain situation. And sometimes like that conversation probably took almost a year to fucking do, and it's like now it fucking happened, and now it's like okay, like there's been a weight lifted out of our shoulders, and that allows us to be more like authentic, as like dumb as it sounds, but it's like that it really like lifts so much out of your shoulder, lifts so much weight out of your shoulders. And it's such a interesting feeling too, because you've been feeling so bad about yourself, or so like angry and like fuck, like what am I supposed to do when you already know the fucking answer? But then you do it, and it's like as scared as you fucking are, it's like, and then yeah, it somehow leads to fucking authenticity, and yeah, hopefully that makes sense. I as always don't have things planned, and I don't know how to express things, but I feel like I need to start writing more. I think that's how we get to our authentic self. We start writing more. But yeah, I'm gonna reflect on this episode myself, and hopefully I'll do another episode where I could put this more into like have this more concise. But this is just conversation. This is just a fucking conversation, and let me know what you think about this, about authenticity, and like do you agree with whatever I said or not? And are you showing up authentically? Do you think you're showing up authentically, and what's authentic to you? So yeah, I'm excited to hear your comments, even though probably nobody's gonna fucking comment. But I'm hoping, and I appreciate those that do comment. I really do. With that being said, don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, share, because that supports the podcast and supports me. And have an amazing, beautiful day. And let me do that again. Have an amazing, beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.